Which teams should you buy? Which teams should you avoid? What if you could simulate 200 case breaks? All that and more on another sports cards analysis case break simulation. Today we got 2021-22, the Cup hockey. Hope you like my new intro. You got to hook people in early. Here's a little example of what some of the cards look like. Awesome. You know, the Cup is an awesome series. I think people love collecting the cup, and I think this year will be no different. This is 21-22, so you know, a little old, but it is what it is with Upper Deck. Here we go. Little disclaimer here: if you hit because I gave you awesome information and you got a not, you know, pun intended, exquisite hit, I don't ask for anything in return. This is free analysis that you can use in your breaking purchases, but in support of that, I ask that you don't blame me when you don't get a hit. I'm giving you statistical insights. I hope that you find them useful, but they're not, you know, they're not guarantees, okay? So let's get right into it here. 2021-22, the Cup is listed for $6,499.95 at a Canadian exchange rate of 1.35. We are at $8,774.93 Canadian. That's on Steel City. Why do I use that price? Because I feel like when a breaker buys a case, they get a discount, and then they mark that up, sell the teams, and then make a profit. Steel City's got a retail price. That retail price is not what breakers pay. That kind of accounts for some of that profit. And I've kind of done a little bit of research to see what breakers are charging. And it's kind of fair market value for them to charge retail when you add up the cost of all the teams. Now, why am I telling you all that? If you're new to my videos, this is important. If you've seen my videos, I would prefer you just listen, but you could skip a couple seconds ahead. Basically, what this means is instead of valuing each card by who's on it, how rare it is, what type of card it is, we're going to value every card equally across the board. So assign the exact same value equally to every card. And what we're doing there is saying, instead of saying, oh, it's a Connor McDavid card, what if we just say, assign an equal value to every single autograph until the case reaches $6,499. What will we pay per team if we just had probability of getting a hit for that team? And that's just saying the higher frequency teams of cards are a higher price. The lower frequency teams of cards, they are a lower price. And so if we do that, if we distribute the cost of all the cards equally, like for example, autographs. Let's start with autographs. The total number of autographs by team is in this order, 1 through 10. 1 through 10 here, and I'll go through a couple pages of these. If we distribute the cost of every autograph equally, then you should pay around $410 in a break for the Ottawa Senators. Why? Because in that case, you're paying for a higher probability of hitting the Senators. It doesn't mean that you're going to get the most value or the most ROI, which in fact, I will talk about return on investment in the next couple charts. But what I'm talking about right now is paying for probability. And remember, the column right next to the US dollars is going to be the Canadian dollar. So we'll actually sort by Canadian. It's the same thing, but because, you know, people, a lot of Canadian viewers, welcome Canadian viewers. So total number of autographs, Senators have 4,687, give or take, with some of the assumptions I make about the print runs. And you should pay around $554 Canadian for the Senators, going down 1 through 10. This is just paying for the probability that you're going to hit the Senators and distributing the cost of the case across those prices. That's what that means there. So keep that in mind. This is nothing but probability. So this means that you'd walk away, this is a fair price to pay if you want to walk away with the highest stack of autographs for the team on that line. Now let's skip all this other stuff. Well, actually, let's talk a little bit about just who has the total number of memorabilia cards, because there are some great patches that don't contain autos. There's some great memorabilia cards that don't contain autos. And here's the teams in order for just memorabilia. I don't even have a price breakout, but let's just look at teams in order for who has the most memorabilia cards. There's the second page. We'll just go 3 pages deep there. There's 3. There's some good insert cards in this, but we're not even going to look at it. There are a ton of printing plates. A lot of them have autographs. Now, this print run here, in the checklist, I just want to make it very clear that in the checklist, only some of the printing plates are listed as one of ones. Upper Deck, when they do printing plates, they release 4: cyan, black, magenta, and yellow. So anytime 1 of 1 was not listed, I put 1 of 4. I put that the print run was 4. And in fact, even on the 1 of 1s, it's probably out of 4. However, I don't know that to be true for the booklet plates. There are printing plate booklet cards that are autographed in this set. So I did not make the assumption that those are out of 4, because I feel like those are probably pretty difficult to make, to manufacture. And so maybe they did really only make 1. So maybe there's not a black, cyan, magenta, and yellow. Maybe there's just 1. So this print run, the plate print runs might be a little off, but these are for the non-auto plates. These are the teams that have the most. And then a lot of people like these printing plates, and especially people who chase 1 of 1s. Okay, printing plates are actually, I don't really even know how they grade. Probably terrible. But they're very sought after to some collectors. Other collectors hate them. So, just giving you that information. Now let's look at the total number of cards. This includes printing plates, insert cards, memorabilia, autographs, and base. There is a base set here. It's numbered to 249. Now, total number of cards: the Ducks, Senators, Kings, Wings, Red Wings, Maple Leafs, Panthers, Capitals, etc. I'll go through a couple pages. Now, if you want the highest probability of walking away from a break, or not walking away, but exiting the stream with the largest stack of cards from the cup, you want to choose the Ducks. And if you do, and you pay around $317 American, $428 Canadian, guess what? That's fair market value for a probability. Again, not return on investment, for probability. So there's 1 through 10, there's 11 through 20, and there's 21 through 30. We'll go to the 4th page, but it's going to be all these like multi-team ones, Florida Panthers. See how that's like multiple teams? I don't like doing those because I don't price those. What I actually do here, and I'm going to keep moving, what I do is I assign a price, a value, to every single card in the checklist, except for the ones with multi-teams. I don't know how to value those because the market will value those. So unless they're multi-team, multiplayer autos, I value every card in this set. Now, if it's a 1 of 1, I account for that. If it's a 1 of 300, I account for that. If it's a 1 of 10,000, I account for that. If it's memorabilia, autograph, insert, parallel, they're all different. And I assign the value algorithmically. So there is some error in there because I don't do it manually. That would take forever. I assign values to every card, and then I calculate ROI. Now, once I assign values, one of the ways that I do that, and one of the outcomes of that, is this player checklist strength scale. A strength scale, to me, that I've developed here, means a 5 would be a high profit ROI, and a 1 would be you're probably going to lose money because you're not going to sell that card. Now, a 2 still means you're going to sell at a loss. Now, what does that mean? What does a loss mean? I like to use the example of the $8 relic card. We're talking in baseball, that's like Allen and Ginter. If you have an Allen and Ginter relic of some bench player, your starting Beckett value is like $8. That's break even. That doesn't mean that all relics are $8. Some of those things are worth $2. And that's where the 1s and 2s come in. So your break even point is going to be like kind of your back end starter to your bench player, maybe, your second string guy. And then your 4s and 5s are going to be your starters and your high profit guys. Your 5s are like Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard, Wayne Gretzky, people like that. And then I look at those values that I create based on the values of their cards. I assign these values, and then I come up with this scale. This is every single player in this checklist, every card in this checklist, every printing plate, every single thing added up on a histogram showing you, okay, which players fall into which categories and how many cards do they have. Because we could say that the player strength, the checklist of this checklist strength is super high. We could say, wow, well, Wayne Gretzky's in here, and Connor McDavid, and Connor Bedard, and Mario Lemieux, and all these great hockey players are in here. But guess what? They don't have as many cards as these guys do. So you'll notice that sometimes in an Upper Deck checklist, they have autographs are, instead of telling you the print run, they say A, B, C, D, E. Well, the E guys have a higher print run than the A guys. So what happens is you have a higher amount of worse players, or not worse players, let me rephrase, although, we can make that argument. You have a higher frequency of less valuable cards, okay, the 2s and 3s, than you do of the higher valuable cards. And that's intentional. You can't, not every card can be a 5. But there are products, like Topps Transcendent, where a lot of 5s, peak out. In this case, there's a lot of 2s and 3s. So that's kind of where we're at on this product. And overall, for the autograph checklist only, we're at a 3.1. And if you've seen my videos before, that's about average for Upper Deck. And a 2.9 for the total checklist strength. That typically happens when there's a lot of rookies. And in this case, with the Cup, because it's older, a lot of the rookies that didn't pan out, actually their values have significantly decreased. Whereas if this product came out in 2001 or 22, the values might still have been high. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about return on investment. So I do that. I assign a value to every single card in the Cup, and then I run 200 case break simulations. I have built my own algorithm to simulate case breaks. And what that usually winds up entailing, and let me get to it here, is I use the hobby box configurations to kind of figure out exactly how the simulation should run. And in 2021-22, the Cup, there's one base card per hobby box. That's the regular base card number to 249. There's one base set rookie auto patch. Okay, so that's a rookie auto patch from the base set. Then there's one patch auto card. Then there's a additional auto, quote unquote, additional auto. Then there's 2 non-autograph inserts, printing plates, or memorabilia cards. Okay. And that's it. So that's 6 cards per hobby box. And there's 6 boxes per case. So I break these cases open in my simulation, 6 boxes per case with that configuration. And then, I try to consider the case hits and things like that. And that's what we get. So then I add up all of the value for every card that I get per case. Well, I add up all of it for the 200 cases, then I divide that number by 200. That's how we get this average. Now, the Cup has higher value cards. I would say based on the cost of this case, the rarity of the cards, only having 6 cards per box, the value is a little higher. So you're going to notice that the ROI here is pretty high. The Oilers have absolutely monstrous checklist, tons of Gretzky's, tons of McDavid's, really, really good checklist, at least in my opinion. But low print run, okay? There's not that many. So you're going to see that there's really good returns, but they don't happen very often. So the strength of the autograph checklist is actually a 30, which is super low. But when it hits good. It hits really good. In fact, I know for a fact that in my simulation, in one of the cases, there was a 1-of-1 Wayne Gretzky auto. That's what's really making this value super high. And that's the simulation. I show you the numbers as is. I don't want to mess with them because I feel like that would be kind of a manipulation and giving you false information. So when it's high like this and I'm like, wow, that's really an outlier, I'm giving you that. So keep that in mind. There's some Ovechkin stuff in here. The checklist isn't that strong. The strongest autograph checklist in this set is the Senators because they have a ton of autographs. I'm talking like thousands and thousands of autographs for the Senators. I think we actually can go back to this table and I could tell you how many the Senators have. Total number of auto right here, 4,687. So I think they actually have the most. So they're the strongest, but that doesn't mean that the ROI is the highest. So the ROI is the highest there because even though I hit the Oilers far less, the cards are much higher value. But if you want the strongest team, go get the Senators. Okay, so here we go. That's ROI for 200 cases. Keep that in mind. That's spread across 200 cases. And that is considering the value of the cards, the print run, the player, the type of card, all that stuff. So average ROI for 200 cases. There's page 3. And then we get into those dual team ones where I don't have ROI. So there you go. That is the remainder. And I'm guessing that some of these are like that because, like the Quebec Nordics, they don't have a lot of data. Okay, so that's your ROI per team for the Cup. Now, you're probably thinking, I don't care about ROI per team for 200 cases. I just want to know if I'm going to hit, how much am I going to make on those hits? Well, here's the deal. The Oilers, here's how we read this table. The Oilers autographs, the hit type, autograph, memorabilia, insert, things like that. Here's the number of times in 200 cases that hit. So how you read this table as I go through it is, this is basically, you could say to yourself in your head, Edmonton Oiler autographs only hit 35 cases. And when it hit in those 35 cases, the average ROI was $4,352 American or $5,875 Canadian. That's what that means. So less than 1/4 of the time, I'd say 1/6 of the time probably, you will hit an Edmonton Oiler autograph. So for every 6 cases opened, one of them might contain an Oilers autograph, or even every 8 cases. We're approaching that number. So between every 6 to 8 cases, you'll get one autograph. But when you do, it's going to be a monster. I mean, we're talking like Wayne Gretzky 1/1s, Connor McDavid, great cards in there. Same thing here. The Washington Capitol autographs hit in 95 cases. And when they hit, that was the ROI. Okay, so that's actually really good. 95 is just less than half the time. So for every 2 cases open, one of them will contain a Washington Capitals autograph. So that's how you read this table. I'm going to go through a bunch of different pages of this, and you can look at it. This one, half the time, a Ducks autograph. This is, 75 cases, a Bruins autograph. So let's just go through this. You can screenshot it, share it with your friends, do whatever you want. And then remember, this is the number of cases that it hits in. So you're going for those Canadians memorabilia cards. It's only going to happen like 1/8 of the time. So there you go. There's page 3 on the average ROI. Remember, this column's Canadian, this is American. A lot of people ask that, so I've added that in. Okay, there you go. Now we're getting more into the inserts. Some of the lower autograph teams where there's lower value, the Sabres, happen to half the time, but the value's just not there. So keep that in mind when you're buying the team. Is the value there? Are the odds there? Are they in your favor? They might not be. There's page 7. There's page 8. We'll go through, I don't know, we'll go until we start seeing a lot of base. So maybe 10 pages here. There we go. There's a lot of base. All right, back to page 1. So there you go. There is the average, only in the cases containing hits. Now let's talk about the sets. The Cup has some interesting sets, but there's a lot of rare cards in here. So let's talk about which cards produce the highest ROI. So if you get a stick and move black foil auto, well, you're looking at probably only one. It's rounding down. That's why it says 0%. Only one case out of 200 had one of those cards, the stick and move black foil auto. That's a 1/1, and it was probably a really good one. It might have been that Wayne Gretzky. Autograph rookie gear only happened once out of 200 cases. High ROI there. Autograph pro gear. So you look through this. This is that player plaque booklet. I don't think that's the plate booklet. That's a plaque booklet. But there are plate booklets in here. Printing plate. Yeah, here. Printing plate book. No. That's not a book. I'm like losing my mind here, guys. Just ignore that whole booklet thing. Somewhere in this, there is a printing plate book. And I'm really curious about that card. That's why I keep bringing it up. But anyway, average ROI by set. This just tells you, how rare are the sets that you're pulling. If you pull one of these sets and you're like, I need to list this card on eBay, but I don't really know how rare the set itself is. Like the black foil, these are all 1/1s, and a lot of them contain autographs. It happened 29 cases. So is it super rare? Well, it's like 1 in every 8 cases. But the value's decent. So you can use this 14% of the time. But when you hit like an autograph pro gear, that's only happened in 2 cases, 1% of the time. So value it a little higher when you list these cards. So that's what this table really shows you. You can screenshot it. There's the first page. I might actually just go like 3 pages in here just to show you some of the cards and how frequently they hit. 26 cases there. 87 cases for the red foil. That's just under half the time. Here's the third one. And the average ROI, these cards are worth a lot. These cards are pretty valuable. 63 cases were the green foil. Exquisite Collection Rookie Auto Shields, 2 cases. But the low ROI based on the players that we were able to hit in those simulations. Remember, this is a simulation, but it's still pretty realistic. All right, now let's talk about the players themselves. This is the full checklist. This is not about the simulation. This is about the checklist. So I've sorted this table by the total number of autographs, and I'm not showing you like the ROI or anything. Just how many cards per player we have here. So in this order, these are the total number of autographs per player. We can kind of filter this and see like, okay, well, what's the quality of the Oilers players? Well, there's 31 different configurations of cards with Oilers on them. And here they are. And again, some of these dual ones I don't really assign a value to, but there's 406 Connor McDavid cards. autograph cards, specifically autograph. Base cards, obviously 249 because that's what it's numbered out of. We could look at total number of all cards. There's 1,020 Connor McDavid cards. He has one printing plate, 98 insert cards. There you go. That's the Oilers. We could look at some other teams like the Senators and see, okay, what's the strength of their thing? Well, we got over 1,500 autographs just for Shane Pinto. So that's kind of how this shakes out. This is the set. I'll go through a couple pages so you just can see like who has the most autographs. If you're chasing some of these players, take a screenshot, use it, and figure out what kind of stuff you want to buy into. This is how many cards these guys have, and there are some assumptions about the print runs, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. They're pretty close. If they're wrong, they're close. Now, total number of cards by team, we kind of already went over this, so we'll just go quickly through that. There's page 1, there's page 2, there's page 3. Total number of cards. This is all cards per player. You don't want to look at the number of unique cards. That's what a lot of checklists give you, but you can see that the order's different because the print run's different. So even though there's only 98 from the Ducks, they have a higher print run on some of those cards. So there you go. Now, number of cards by print run, very important. Some of these 4s here, just so you know, are the printing plates. So they are actually listed as 1 of 1s, but do you really consider a printing plate 1 of 1 when there's 4 of them? I don't. So there's 1,401 1 of 1s in this set. That's how many there are, at least that's what I think. So let's see how the odds go. Well, here's by team who has the most 1 of 1s. This is total cards out of 1. The Maple Leafs, Ducks, Lightning, Wings. Here's 1 through 10 for 1 of 1. So if you're chasing a 1 of 1, just buy one of these 10 teams. And then, over the course of a few breaks, you should hit one of those, I would think. But if you really want to know how many 1 of 1s are we going to hit in 200 case break simulations, well, I'll get to that. Actually, let's just jump to that right now. So in 200 cases, these are the 1 of 1s that I hit. I hit 115, so over half the time, and over 1 out of every 2 cases, more than that, we hit a 1 of 1. And this is the quality of the 1 of 1s that we hit. Here's some of the set types. Dual-sided printing plate, pretty sweet. So we hit a lot of 1 of 1s here, actually. That's pretty good. Here's some more. Now I'm going to go back up real quick and talk about this table. Now, I do 200 case break simulations, but I want everyone to set your expectations correctly. Not every case is going to have 1,000, great cards in it. So I just take the 200th case from my simulation, and I just show you the results. Plain and simple, here's the results. The lowest print run card, which is probably numbered 1 of 1, is this Mike Hardman printing plate. Rookie Masterpiece printing plate, credentials, debut, ticket access. I labeled it out of 4 because it's a printing plate, but it is probably out of 1. So here are the expected results. Are they great? Some of them are really good cards. Some of them, not so much. So there you go. Patrick Waugh, that's pretty nice. So that is what you can expect. That's just the first page, and then here's the second page for this simulation. And there you go. That is the results of 1 case break. Now, there's the 1 of 1s. We already talked about that. Now, the ROI is not always the same. You can't count on it always being Ottawa. You can't always count on it being Colorado. So, so basically, how does the ROI change for every case break? Sorry about that little brain blip there. How does the ROI change per case break? Well, largely in this set, because there's so few cards, the best ROI is just 1 team. But sometimes you have 2. You got the Rangers there, and then I can't remember what this one is. Is that the Senators? I don't know. I think the Senators are over here somewhere. I forget what that logo is. Let me go look because I feel stupid for not knowing. That one is the Capitals. Duh, the Washington Capitals. And it's in alphabetical order. I should have known that. So sometimes it's the Capitals. Sorry about that. Sometimes it's Colorado. Sometimes, it's whoever. So look at this. This is a breakdown of the first 20 case breaks and which teams had the highest ROI. So if you're looking to really bank on my advice and being like, well, Washington's going to have the best ROI for every case break, that's not true. That's just simply not true. Sometimes they're going to have the worst. Then some other team will. Sometimes the Oilers will have the best. So just look at this and figure out how are these teams changing and shifting. What are the best likely teams to buy? This Penguins one, has that even shown up? that high? No. So, sometimes you just get a random, top ROI there. So there you go. There's the breakdown of the first 20 case breaks in my simulation and how the ROI differs team to team. Okay, so then for that 20 case breaks, who did we get the most cards from? We got them from Ottawa. Just like pretty much how this set is distributed in the master checklist is kind of how it shakes out for the total. So there's page 2, and then there's page 3. Now this is just the simulation results. Remember that. So it's not the master checklist. I showed you that already. So that's just the simulation results. Now, one of ones, remember we got 115 of them. Which teams did we actually get the most one of ones from? The Canucks, Golden Knights, Canadiens, Kings, Bruins, etc. Look at that, and that should help you make an informed decision on which teams to buy. Okay, now the simulation results by hit type. We got plates, memorabilia, insert, base, and autographs. Let's see, who did we get the most autographs from? We got 235 autographs from the Senators, 169 from the Golden Knights. So the order's a little weird here, a little funky. So there you go. I'll actually move this up so that we can see all of the teams there. Let's see there. You can see all 20. Let's go to page 2. And we can see the rest there. So for autographs, that's the order. So don't trick yourself with thinking that buying the Blackhawks is just going to get you a stack of autographs like you've never seen before. That's not always the case. Let's look at printing plates. These are those 1 of 1s, 1 of 4s, whatever. Sabres, Ducks, Predators. There's your top, 20 right there. And memorabilia, there's some sick memorabilia patches in here. Kings, Rangers, Avalanche. There's your top 20 there. That's it. That is 2021-22, the Cup. Thanks for watching Sports Cards Analysis. I love you guys. It's been awesome watching this channel grow. I'm going to continue to do it, continue to grow. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. See ya. Good luck in your breaks.